I had one of those moments, like, big secret was revealed. The layers were coming off. I was like, what's going on? Like, I truly in my heart believe that.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Diana.
I'm Jonathan, and behind the camera is my wife, Jessie. Say hi.
Hello.
We're finding while making these videos, one of the bigger things that has come up is that Jess and I have some unresolved discussions. And there's one that I'm particularly interested in getting comments about, aside from Diana's and of course my wife's.
Yeah, they bring it up all the time.
Well, I feel like it's her go-to story whenever I'm forgetful, whenever she thinks she's right and I'm wrong. She brings up a situation which A, you're very mad about still and annoyed about, but B, you constantly use against me in arguments.
Okay, which one? There's so many, so
Okay,
I have no idea which one
I'm
you're
talking about medieval times.
Oh my god.
See, instantly, she's like, oh.
Well, let me explain what happened, and then we'll see what other people are going to think about this, okay? I'm not saying I'm not to blame in this thing. I'm just saying...
Not to blame!
I should be given a little bit more consideration in this scenario.
My god. Okay, you know what? Everyone's going to be on my side for this.
Maybe
for
they
sure.
won't be. Maybe
I
they
definitely
will
am
be.
on her
Okay.
side.
Okay, you explain yourself.
I'll explain my side of the story, okay? We've been together, almost like at this point, close to about 10 years now. So, very early on in our relationship, and I believe while we were dating, 4 years in, I went to medieval times. We didn't really talk about it for a while, but later on I said like, oh yeah, we should go back to medieval times one of these days. And you went back to medieval times. I've never been to medieval times. At the time I was a little hurt by that because I was like, well, we went on a date together to medieval times. Like, why are you forget? You're going to a jousting event every week? Like, why are you forgetting this?
Okay, let's put a pause on that.
Okay.
Who in the right mind would bring a girlfriend to medieval time to see horses running around
whoa.
and
You're
shitting
gonna get
everywhere?
You're gonna get haters if you talk about this.
Okay, fine.
A lot of people like medieval times. It's a perfectly acceptable place to bring a girl. It's a fun time.
Okay.
Do not knock medieval.
Okay.
You enjoyed it.
Okay.
Did you not enjoy it?
Okay, fine. I
Did
did
you not enjoy it?
I do enjoy it, but I still think it's weird.
Okay, please. I love medieval times. I'm just saying,
Sometimes.
you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Let's
Okay,
leave it at
fine.
that.
Okay,
Anyways, I had a great time. I thought you had a great time. You know what? I don't care. At the end of the day, medieval times is killing it. There's plenty to do there. It's a lot of fun. If you haven't been, I suggest it.
I haven't.
I don't mind the food's decent. I do not mind. I think there's some ribs, chicken.
Fine. Okay.
I didn't mind any of
this.
this.
People think they're paying you. Okay?
I'm not. Okay. They are not paying me. I just enjoy it. Anyways, continuing. So I thought we had a good time. I thought it was one of our, more unique dates, and you just knocked it away. Like, I've never been. What you mean back? How could I be back to something or return to something that I've never been to? Why this has become a discussion and fight? This goes on for months. Right? This goes on for months.
Over a year,
John. But this is the funny thing. You started to believe that maybe you went to medieval times. At a certain point, you believed it.
After a year, you kept saying, oh my god, we did this, we did that.
I mean, I truly believe that we went. And I think it started to convince Jess, because she's like, well, he acts normally on a day-to-day basis. He must have remembered this way. I was like, yeah. Fast forward a little bit down the road. We're having dinner with my parents.
After a year, let me just emphasize
after
that.
a year since the start of that discussion, sure. We're eating with my dad, and we get into this fight. And I don't know how it came up. I don't remember why we were talking about it. And I was like, oh yeah, we keep getting these fights. She keeps on thinking we didn't go to medieval times, but I know we went, blah, blah, blah. And my dad's like, no, I went to medieval times with you. I had one of those moments like a big secret was revealed. Like, it was like the plot of Inception. Like, layers were coming off. I was like, what's going on? Like, how did my brain do this? Like, everything started snapping back, and it was like, oh yeah, my dad wasn't. And it was literally like you were replaced by my dad in my memories all of a sudden.
Yeah,
it was the craziest thing. Now, I'm not saying that I shouldn't get in some trouble, but it's like my brain did that. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like, is that really my fault? I truly believe that. I truly in my heart believe that. How can you be that upset that that's what I remember?
Because I kept telling you it wasn't me. I've never been to medieval times. During that whole time, we're trying to convince me that I went with you. I'm like, I would have known. I would have remembered. It's pretty epic, okay?
Very different too.
Yeah, very different. I would remember that. I'm not a hamster. My memory doesn't just go in and out, right? Well, apparently yours does, but you know, that's a different story. For a full year, you were trying to convince me. And I keep saying, no, it wasn't me. And we would have these fights over it. And you're telling me that it's not your fault right now.
I'm copying the claim that, yes, that was my fault. And I apologize. And that's a done deal, though. It's like a mental thing. I had a mental little bloop.
Relax.
Something happened. Little
You were
laugh.
trying to brainwash me. At one point, after a year, I'm like, you know what? This guy's been so... He kept saying it. We had so many fights. I'm like... Okay, maybe my memory is off. Maybe, like, I just don't remember it. Like, you were so convinced that you were trying to, like, brainwash me. Now that you know it's not me, of course I'm upset. Because I was doubting myself at one point. Like, I was going crazy.
You must have had such a, like, I told you so moment.
Yeah, like, every time he would say, I don't think you remember this right or that right, I would bring it up. Because I'm like, don't tell me what I don't remember.
But do you think that's okay? I had one blip in 10 years. I had one major blip. I've had very few blips, okay? Very few blips over the years.
A few. Okay, but this is an extreme,
This
okay?
is an
You
extreme.
went with it for over a year.
I had one extreme blip in like over a decade of you knowing me. At that point, I guess it would have been 3 or 4 years of you knowing me.
But no one will
still,
make that big of a mistake.
But I'm just saying, can you always use that argument? That's not fair. One mistake... Not allowed to keep on using it.
How many times have you brought up something too? Oh yeah, remember that one time? I remember this, and you bring it up.
You did that to Diana too, okay? There are times that you said, "Oh, we did this," and Diana's like, no."
Like what?
Well, we can't remember, but at the time, I
remember.
remember.
You can't remember. Oh, that's convenient.
No, but at the time, me and Diana talked, and we're like, yeah, something's wrong with his brain because it wasn't you, it was me. I remember.
Yeah, I remember a couple times. Like
that. A few times. And one of them, we were in Montreal, and we just said, oh, Diana, we did this. And she's like, no. I can't remember exactly what the situation is, but you did that to her too.
A few times, yeah.
At a smaller scale. It's like smaller things.
Yeah, maybe you believe me more.
But for a full year, you were trying to brainwash me.
I wasn't trying to brainwash you. I truly believed it. Brainwashing is like a very manipulative, ill-content.
Okay, fine.
What does it make a difference whether you went to medieval times or not in the grand scheme of things? It's not like, oh, I'm trying to convince, like, please give me your money from your bank account. Like, there's no repercussions
Okay, fine.
here.
There's no repercussions. So what am I? Like, am I just like your dad? Are we like very similar, like in a way? Like, I don't understand why you.
I don't know. Maybe my brain just went, oh, that's not something I normally do with my dad. That's something I would probably do with my girlfriend. That's probably what my head went.
Yeah, so you just replaced the image of his dad.
Yeah,
with,
that's
like,
all
the
that
image
happened
of you.
for
Just
that.
like, oh, plop, just
And
you.
not just that, you were trying to cover for your mistake by bring me there to, you know, to medieval time and say, now you can't say you've never been because now you have been with me. I'm like, that doesn't change anything.
And it's so funny because like when I first met them, it was like one of like the early days when we were becoming friends. Like the first story you tell me was this story, and I'm just there like watching and like listening to these two like argue, and I was like super entertained the entire time. I'm just like, huh? And I was like, how can you like twist like a memory like so epically in your head that you truly convince yourself that that's exactly what happened?
If you believe it, it's not a lie. That's what happened there. I believed it. In my head, that's what occurred. I don't know.
But the thing is, even when I try to do that, it's never to the point where like completely wipe my
Well,
memory.
I normally can't do that. I don't know what happened in this instance where my brain did it. I've never done it to that degree ever again, as far as I know.
Wow.
You'd have to be the
You don't
monitor.
know.
You'd have to be the. I wouldn't know.
Wow.
You'd have to be the monitor for that. Someone hasn't caught it yet. I guess someone's like.
No, we did catch it a few times.
Yeah, but
Like
nothing
small
that
things,
extreme.
though.
Small
Yeah.
things.
I was just upset because you were trying to convince me for a full year.
And you were like making her look like the bad guy.
Yeah.
It's like she was the one that's wrong.
You kept arguing. You didn't just bring it up once or twice. Throughout the year, you kept bringing it up. And then you kept saying, oh, let's go back. And it's just so frustrating because I'm like, I've never been there. I would know, honestly. Like, it's not something I would do myself, right? And you're telling me it's not your fault for trying to brainwash me? I don't know. I think, like, that's 100% on you.
Sure. Okay, we've established this.
I just think that if there was ever an instance where you need to be polygraphed, I think you would pass flying colors.
No, it's not that. I can't do this normally. I'm very honest. I don't know how my brain did it. I just don't know.
I wish I could. I wish I could.
So what are we gonna do here? Seems like I just lost the argument
Well,
again.
anyways, you know who's right in this situation.
We are not saying who's right. I just don't know. My only question is how long are you allowed to use this in an argument for?
Forever.
In general.
Forever.
I don't think it's a forever.
No.
I think you get 10 years. If I have a clean record for 10 years or 20 years, that's almost like a life sentence. I think I should get a little bit of like reprieve. I think after a certain amount of years, it's like, oh, he hasn't done that in a long time.
But you have though. You have
argument.
little moments that you have done it. Just me. You've done it to Diana too.
Tiny moments. Compared to that was a big one.
Yeah.
Tiny ones maybe. Everyone has tiny ones where they're like, oh, what did I do?
No.
What did I eat last night? I went to this restaurant.
But I'm not replacing someone else with like someone else in a memory. You're asking like, oh, like, you know, if you were like sent to jail and being like pardoned of your sins.
Anyways, I think there should be some reprieve after a number of years. I don't think my punishment should be
But the
indefinite.
thing is, like, you know, even when we have conversations where you're just like, oh, when do I ever do that? Or, give me an example. And you always ask for example. So this is such an iconic example where you can't be like, you can't argue back.
Yeah. Because the smaller incidents we won't remember. I'm trying to remember an incident that happened to Diana. I couldn't remember it. So
I definitely remember like those small ones, but I just can't remember like exactly what it was.
The details of it, yeah. So all we have to do is say medieval times. And that's it.
And you're like, yeah.